We're talking to Mr. Sam Latham, the publisher of the Metropolitan Times. And I think before we had our break, Mr. Latham, we were talking about some of the opportunities that existed for the black press, and especially the Metropolitan Times. But what are some of the obstacles that you meet in your day-to-day kind of activities dealing with the Metropolitan Times?
Well, one of the big obstacles is cash flow. The nature of our business, that is that we have a short period of time to pay our bills, but for the most part, especially the larger clients that we have, many of whom are out of state, we have to wait probably 3 times as long as it takes us, that we have to pay our bills. So growth is whereas it's welcomed, it puts a strain on business, on the way we have to operate. And then the other is just overcoming the long-standing prejudices associated with almost anything black. I think we've done a good job of doing away with the prejudices inside the black community, and we're working on doing away with the stereotypes that exist on the outside. That is that, number one, black people don't read, that it has to be an inferior product if it's associated with black concern. So some of those things, some of those obstacles, and the lack of information that those people who buy advertising have on the black community.
And you still insist that the majority of people who do buy advertisement really are not serious, never seriously think about that large black market, which is really millions of dollars.
Sure. And the problem is that there's so much bureaucracy associated with having that third party involved in purchasing advertising. And people who, they haven't been taught. There's only been recent moves to appreciate diversity and to value diversity in the mainstream marketplace. So many people are just now coming on board, and we're seeing an increase of people who are realizing the opportunities for market share increases through the black community. It's underworked, whereas the yuppie market, so to speak, that everybody rushed to in the 80s, it's overworked and it's diminishing. You look at where the future growth is, it's the Hispanics and African Americans. So this is the market that's going to increase. The great consumers. One of the negatives might be that we consume too much. But we buy cars, we buy on impulse, we buy clothes, a lot of the things. We're trendsetters in a lot of regards.
And it's not as if we're not buying things, as you say. You indicated that we really buy, and we've got a lot of money to spend, but nobody is really paying that much attention to us buying.
Yes. So with that, I think we found one of the keys to getting our message across, how to communicate. And we experimented by expanding to the Memphis market. Memphis is the 13th largest black market in the country. 360,000 blacks, or African Americans, live there as opposed to 119,000 here. So there's potentially, of the $2.6 billion that's spent in Memphis, we're talking about a $52 million market advertising to black people.
And Metropolitan Times has moved into the Memphis market.
Correct. So we have a paper down there called the Memphis Times.
So those are some of the, let's finish by talking about some of the opportunities over the last couple of minutes that we have here.
Since 1988, we've tried to design a product that will fit market types. And so we've determined that a paper like Metropolitan Times can be successful in any market in the South that has at least 100,000 African Americans. And so the Memphis expansion was an experiment, and it's going quite well. It's proving our theory that having a paper that addressed the needs of the readers in a particular area with the capability of reaching the masses. In Memphis, we reach about 62% of the black households.
That's 62% of 300,000 people.
Right. And if you look at the commercial appeal reaches 32%. Of that market. So for a small amount of money, as far as an advertiser goes, they can pay about $200 per column inch to the commercial appeal to reach 32% of that market, or they can pay us $38 per column inch to reach better than 60%. Okay, so that's our specialty.
And of course, those are some of the opportunities that you have in terms of being involved in it. But now what you've got to do is to simply educate
Yes.
the folks who are buying advertisements for
Right.
some of these other areas and whatnot.
So that makes it mandatory that we be experts on our market. We tell people that we do one thing and one thing only. That is, we can provide expertise.
You would say that the Metropolitan Times knows more about the Middle Tennessee African-American market than any other media in town, television, radio, anything.
I would challenge any of them on that point. Yes.
Okay, that's a, and I tell you, Mr. Latham, we certainly appreciate you coming by and giving us that excellent information about the Metropolitan Times. I know that it's a newspaper that is well read around all of the areas that we go to. You're doing quite a job in terms of getting it to institutions of higher education. We see it at churches, and we see it all over at various malls and whatnot. And
Thank you, Dr. Haynes. We pride ourselves in going cross-racial, the lines that are usually drawn, socioeconomics, class, the whole works. So from the lowest socioeconomic area to the highest within the black community, education, across educational lines.
And more important than anything, it's free. And let
Yes.
me thank you for coming by and giving us that information. And let me encourage you to tune in again next week for another very, very important discussion on comments. Thank you and good morning.